I think we have everyone except we're waiting for Elizabeth. Is that correct?
You're also waiting for the mayor.
He's there.
I thought I just saw the mayor, but I
I
don't.
don't see him in mine. Councilor Moore is not going to be here tonight.
Councilor Moore's here.
He is.
It's Councilor
Moore's
Gibbs
here.
we're waiting for.
Oh,
We don't have Counselor Gibbs. Yeah, that's it.
Well, we're at 4:33. If you want, we can just start without her, and I'm sure she'll be joining momentarily.
okay.
I'll send her the link just in case she doesn't have it.
All right, well, we'll start. I'm presiding over the regular meeting of the Board of the Plattsburgh Municipal Lighting Department. It's April 30th, 2020, and it's about 4:33 p.m. We'll start with a roll call. Director Barbell.
Here.
Director Kelly.
Here.
Director Gibbs.
Here.
Okay.
Director McFarland is here. Director Moore.
Here.
Director Reed. Director Reed is here. Manager Tracy.
I'm here.
And CFO Kluge.
She's here too.
Is here. Okay.
Yeah, she's sitting 6 feet away from me over here.
Perfect. Well, first we'll start with minutes of the previous meeting. Resolved that the minutes of the meeting of the PMLD board held on January 30th, 2020 are approved and placed on file among the public records of the MLD office. Do I have a motion? Director Kelly, any second?
I'll second that.
Director Gibbs seconds. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, we'll move to roll call. Director Barbell.
Yes.
Director Kelly. Director Gibbs.
Yes.
Director McFarland votes yes. Director Moore.
Yes.
And Director Reed.
Yes.
That action is adopted unanimously. Item number 2, financial report presented by MLD manager William Tracy, or perhaps CFO Kluge. Reports and committee reports. Internal report of financial standing as of March 2020.
Okay, give me a minute and let me make a switch here and she'll come on.
All right, perfect.
Okay, Kelly, you're on. The mic's on, so just talk.
Hello.
Hello, Kelly. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Okay, I don't know if you have the packet in front of you that we sent for the financials.
It was in the, it was, that's
We
put in,
did get it. I don't physically have it in front of me, but we did get it, yes.
Okay. So anyway, on the front page is a historical year-to-date timeline as of March month end. Our revenues are down $1.25 million year-to-date compared to same time last year. So we are making some cost reductions within the MLD to reflect that. Our revenues are $6.7 million current year-to-date, and our expenses are $5.7 million. So the $1 million difference we've tucked into our debt and retirement obligations to get us through to the end of the year. They're in savings. The revenues are down because we have reduced bills and reduced collections so far year to date due to the COVID. We've stopped assessing the late fees, and we're not processing any disconnects for non-pay because of hardship to people. We did check April revenues. The billing clerk called and told me that she has everything in except the industrials, and that looks encouraging actually. From March to April, our residential and commercial accounts are only down $30,000 each. In comparison, that's a lot better than anticipated. And the industrials are read and billed tomorrow, so we're not sure of that impact yet, but we'll have a better idea tomorrow after they're read.
Kelly, just curious, you said residential and commercial are each down 30K, so that's the 60K. You don't have the,
That's from March to April, because I was really nervous with a lot of commercial businesses being closed, that how that would impact us. So I'm encouraged that it's only $30,000 in the grand scheme of things with all that's going on. I think that's excellent. The manager last month, it has deferred some capital items. He's trying to either put off or push back or cancel 500,000 in capital items that he had planned to run this year that he's just cutting back right now because he's acknowledging that the funding might be reduced later on in the summer. And he's only doing essential purchases and restricting quantities of all items purchased also to cut back. On one of the pages, the New York State Rec and ZEC, New York State surcharges being collected in customer bills year to date is at 670,000. That's passed on to our consumers. And also, I sent a notification. We got something from New York State saying that the HEAT program, the Home Energy Assistance Program for residential customers who heat with electric, the benefit season has been extended to June 30th. It says, or until the funds allocated to these components are exhausted, whichever occurs first. So if you have anybody, you know, that has trouble paying their electric bill as a residential customer, we encourage them to apply to the HEAT program. They have a $401 benefit for original, and then 3 $490 benefits that would pretty much take care of your whole winter season heating bills. And by internet search, if you just do HEAP in capital letters, it'll bring you to the website and you can apply online or through JCEO, Office of the Aging on Margaret Street, or DSS on Durkee Street. And feel free to call the office if anybody has any problems making their payments. We're working with them to set up payment arrangements for anybody that needs it.
Kelly, do you know, you said it's going to June, or if they run out of financing?
Exhausted, so we encourage them to apply. We're just sending delinquent notices right now so that people use that to apply for HEAP, so that they know that people are in distress and they have a past due balance. So the faster they can get it in, that'd be great. And if they need copies, they can call the office and we can give those to them. And lastly, okay, go ahead.
Do you know what the fund looks like? Is it close to being exhausted?
We don't know. We just got notification of the extension. We thought it was going to be wrapped up on April 24th and they extended it to June 30th. So that's awesome that it's helping people. A family of 4, you can get up to $1,871 in assistance if you apply for each one of those benefits. And lastly, summer rates begin tomorrow on May 1st. So the bills will go down considerably with summer rates.
Perfect.
So we're just tightening our belt and hanging in there. And if anybody needs our help, we're here, just call.
Now, Kelly, if what makes up the rest of that being down 1.255 million to date?
A lot of times it's seasonal usage in the winter rates. We had a much harsher winter season last year. So at first glance, I assumed that was it.
Kelly, I can address that, please.
Okay, Bill said that he can address it. Hold on, please.
Thank you, Kelly.
Get out of this thing. This winter was very mild. In fact, we didn't buy any supplemental power at all this winter. We stayed within our hydro allotment, which we did not do in 2019 or 2018. We bought, last year we bought supplemental in December, January, February, and March. This year we bought 0. So that's why the revenue numbers are down. They're more in line, the revenue numbers in 2020 are more in line with 2017 and 2016, which were also mild winters. 2015 was a little bit colder. So that explains what that is. Right now, the March billing for the most part is showing February timeframe. So COVID-19 shutdowns hadn't really played a major part in this yet. However, as Kelly was mentioning about the industrial customers, I had looked at them because we actually read their meters on the 1st of the month for the previous month. So we read them for March on the 1st of April. And actually the industrial customers increased their load from the previous month, approximately 2,500,000 kilowatt hours more power was used. Now, one industrial customer decreased, which was the college, went down a 500,000 kilowatt hours. So that gain was 2 million overall. The leader of that was GP, because if you saw in the paper a few weeks ago, they had put a second paper line on, produce toilet paper and paper towels. Apparently the plant here makes the Angel toilet paper and the Brawny paper towels, which of course, all that stuff is a big demand. So they went up big time, and so did the others. Moldrite and the other companies also went up. So in a way, it's going to probably be a wash, and I expect to see those numbers slightly higher in April when we see the reports tomorrow. If that answers your questions.
Yeah, so what do you expect the effect of the lockdown to take on your?
I don't expect, on the industrial customers for the most part, I don't expect a problem, except with SUNY, because dormitories aren't occupied. So they're probably going to be coming closer to what they would normally do in the summer months earlier. The large commercial, there might be a little dip there, but I don't see much, because that's your Stewart's, your Burger Kings and McDonald's and the big grocery stores. They're still all operating. Gas stations, for the most part, are still operating. The car showrooms are closed. Some of them are lit, some of them are not lit. I've driven by, but their garages in the back, they're still doing maintenance on the cars for their customers. So there may be a little dip there. The real dip will probably be in the small commercial, and that's the mom and pop operations. A lot of the businesses that are like the center city, the small, tiny restaurants and bars, there probably will be a drop of that because they're shuttered just completely. The residential will probably go up a little bit because everybody's staying at home, though it will probably drop because, assuming it's a bit warmer here, the electric heat will start getting turned off. But with the heat being extended, people that are having problems paying, they have that option. And I know we have seen a lot of people are going that option, because we've gotten a lot of notices from DSS saying they will cover the bills for a number of people. We get notices, 4 or 5 notices a day, sometimes even more, that they're saying they will cover those people. So I think we'll ride this through. We won't really know the real problem with April till probably about the middle of June, because it's about a 2-month lag in that process.
Well, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Any other reports on the financial standing as of March 2020? Well, hearing no more, we'll resolve that the financial report as read is hereby ordered, received, and placed on file among the public records of the Municipal Lighting Department office. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Director Barbell, and seconded by Director Gibbs. Roll call, or any further discussion on those items by any of the directors? Hearing none, we'll move to roll call. Director Barbell.
Yes.
Director Kelly. Director Kelly votes yes. Director Gibbs.
Yes.
Director McFarland votes yes. Director Moore.
Yes.
Director Reed. Director Reed votes yes. That action is adopted. Item number 3, departmental reports presented by MLD Manager William Tracy.
you have the work in progress there. I don't need to read through it. It's pretty self-explanatory. The big thing, I guess, is we've added another EV charger up by Oliver Ridley's in the parking lot there on Margaret and Court Street. And we have another one that's about 95% complete in the Laura parking lot next to the Pepper. And that should be online sometime next week. So that'll be 4 EVs that'll be having installed in the city. The 5th one is going up where the bank used to be in, I'm trying to think of the Pavone parking lot there. So when that parking lot gets built, that's where the 5th one will go. Probably sometime this summer.
And again, Bill, that 5th one will be the last one you're doing because I believe the governor wants to wait for any more until the level 3s are out.
Yeah, the level 3s, as soon as they solve the problem with Tesla sued the state, so they got to resolve that issue. Tesla only wants their chargers at those locations versus the state wants Tesla. If they buy their chargers, they want them to have the connection for the Tesla car and a connection for everybody else's car. So they're fighting that out in court. In the meantime, that has put the whole thing on hold. And I think the virus has put a lot of things on hold along those lines. But supposedly with the 2021 model year, the cars coming out then are supposed to be able to use that high speed process. And you're supposed to be able to recharge your cars in 10 to 15 minutes then fully. It does take a lot of power. So these things have to be put in certain places where there's plenty of power so they don't cause brownouts or power bumps every time they're used. IEP, we've got several things we got completed. The residential installation program, of course, is on hold at the moment because of the virus. We're still taking names, but I'm hoping that it will occur in the fall that we will be able to actually do the ones that we've gotten. Last year, what happened, they inspected them in December and they did all of them in a 2-week period in October. I think there was like 13 or 14 houses that were done. Right now, I have about 7 people signed up so far this year. So I've been told to keep the list and we'll see what the governor says if he starts opening up the state and when that occurs. If not, then we'll hold it for next year.
Bill, was that grant made to the school district for their bridge completed, for their electrical upgrades?
Yes, sir. That has already been paid for. And it's been installed, and there's an account set up for it that the high school is dealing with. Now, I have not come by to see if they've actually turned the lights on at night, but they said they would. But yeah, everything is done with that. They've got it. And as far as I know, they're happy as
Great.
they can be.
Bill, could you tell us just a little more about that, what that's for?
Which?
The lights at the bridge.
Oh, they asked for, I believe, 15 LED lights for the IEP program to purchase them, and they would install them on the approach and on the bridge itself. We also required them to put in a meter box so we could install a meter so we could charge them for the electricity that those lights use. That work was completed over a month and a half ago.
And this wasn't just for 15 LED bulbs. This was for basically getting the bridge wired up to low energy, high efficiency standards.
Yeah, we just paid for the fixtures and the bulbs. They had to pay for the wiring and everything else along those lines. It was about $6,400, $6,400.
Thank you, Bill. Any other updates?
No, not at the moment.
All right, thank you. Then with that, we'll move on to item number 4, bid requests. 4A, resolved. In accordance with the request, therefore, the MLD board approves MLD to advertise for bids for PMLD bid number 2020-5-1, natural gas operated power generator. Bid opening date is June 9th, 2020 at 11 a.m. in the Common Council chambers. 4B, resolved. In accordance with the request, therefore, the MLD Board approves MLD to advertise for bids for PMLD bid number 2020-6-1 ARC rated flame resistant clothing rental program. Bid opening date is July 14th, 2020 at 11 a.m. in the Common Council chambers. Do I have a motion? Director Moore. Do I have a second? Director Barbell. Any discussion? Bill, could you just tell us real briefly what these bids are?
Okay, the first one is for a backup generator for over here at 217 Sharon. If we lose primary power, this place goes dark. We have no backup power over here. When we were down at Green Street, we had a backup generator, but we don't have one here. We chose to go with natural gas because if you put in a fuel tank, then that invites other issues with DEC and so forth. So natural gas is a lot easier to work with, and we already have natural gas on the property.
Bill, quick question. What happened to the generator that was down at Green Street? You couldn't move it up to Sharon Avenue?
We passed it on to the water treatment plant because sewage treatment plant, I should say. We were always tied in with them. We shared that generator. They still need that generator if they lose power at the sewage treatment plant to keep it from backing up and going into Lake Champlain. So they took over the keys and the maintenance and everything with that generator.
Okay.
So if you go down there, you'll still see it down. It's a big generator, to say the least, more than I would need here. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bill. What about the flame resistant clothing rental program?
Okay, we've had that contract in progress for the last 5 years with UniFirst. It expires in August, so we want to go out with the contract. What it is a little over 5 years ago, OSHA put out new rulings requiring the employer of utility employees must provide ARC-rated clothing to those employees. Additionally, they said the employer was also required to ensure the proper washing of that clothing, because if the wrong detergent or softener is used, you can damage the clothing and make it useless. And also the employer was also responsible for ensuring the maintenance of the clothing, sewing on buttons that fell off and broken zippers and so forth. Well, I didn't particularly feel like following everybody home and watching their wives do the wash every week to ensure they were doing it correctly. So a lot of utilities went to this kind of process. UniFirst brings us a set of clothes. The guys have 2 weeks worth of clothing. One set they wear, and then they put it out for cleaning. UniFirst picks it up, and then they wear the second set, and then they bring back the first set, which cleaned, and they pick up the second set to wash that. And it's been worked pretty well for the last 5 years. And the guys are happy with it, and it meets the OSHA requirements. So we're just looking to put the contract in effect for another 3 years with a 2-year extension onto that. UniFirst is, if you don't know where they are, they're based out of Keysville. So they do all the laundering and everything down at the Keysville plant.
Perfect. Any other questions or further discussions on these items? Hearing none, we'll move to a roll call. Director Barbell.
Yes.
Director Kelly. Director Kelly votes yes. Director Gibbs.
Yes.
Director McFarland votes yes. Director Moore.
Yes.
Director Reed.
Yes.
Those resolutions pass. Item number 5, monthly write-offs. 5A, resolved. In accordance with the request, therefore, the MLD Board approves MLD to write off unpaid bills from January 2019 in the total amount of $2,041.75. The percentage of write-offs for this period is 0.8%, or sorry, 0.08%. The recovered amount for this period is $1,304.38. 5B, resolved. In accordance with the request, therefore, the MLD Board approves the MLD write-off approves MLD to write off unpaid final bills from February 2019 in the total amount of $2,218.68. The percentage of write-offs for this period is 0.08%. The recovered amount for this period is $1,234.95. 5C resolved. In accordance with the request, therefore, the MLD Board approves MLD to write off unpaid bills from March 2019 in the total amount of $6,381.84. The percentage of write-offs for this period is 0.25%. The recovered amount for this period is $1,034.19. Do I have a motion? Director Moore, and a second? Director Barbell. Any discussion on these items? Hearing none, we'll move to a roll call. Director Barbell,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Gibbs,
Yes.
Director McFarland votes yes. Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Reed.
Yes.
That action is adopted. Number 6, travel request. Travel request approved for January 30th, 2020 board meeting pending revision as a result of the coronavirus. Revision training dates to be provided to the board as soon as it is possible to be scheduled.
Those are training dates that were supposed to occur this month and last month, and they probably will now occur again, depending on the virus and depending on the governor's schedule, probably August, September timeframe. Once I find out, I will let the board know.
Thank you, Bill.
That was just a statement I just put in there.
Any old business? Hearing none. Any new business? Bill, can you just tell us how MLD is managing in times with the coronavirus? Any difficulties? Have any members of MLD been affected by the coronavirus directly?
So far, knock on wood, no. We have our crews segregated and their vehicles segregated in the building. They keep away. We have the groups in different areas. They use different bathrooms. They have sanitizing equipment on their trucks so they can wash down the steering wheel and columns. They have a hand sanitizer. We've issued them masks, so they have these. We're getting next week gaiters. Those are things that they pull over their heads. They can pull up over their faces. They're arc flash protected, so they can use them around electrical systems. They're a lot safer than these are, because if there's an electric flash, these things will go up in flames. With these other things, well, we're supposed to get them sometime next week. FEMA is sending us 25 cloth masks. We were told by them we'd get them by tomorrow. We'll see what happens. In the building here, we have pretty much one-person offices, and in those offices, we've installed air purification equipment that we got from Amazon. It's a combination of carbon filter, HEPA filter, and UV lights in there. It's supposed to kill anything and everything. So, plus we put 2 UV lights inside our air ducts coming from the roof to also kill anything that could be brought into the ventilation system. The only office that we have 2 persons is the finance office, and one individual, she works from 8 to 4, and then Kelly comes in after 4 to work her 3 or 4 hours in the evening. So there's no cross contamination between the 2 of them. So we've kept everyone pretty much isolated and as best we can in this. It's 1 person to a vehicle driving. So we have a 2-man crew. They take 2 vehicles. Each one drives their own vehicle. And they, of course, they keep the separation at the site, and they have their face masks.
Bill, if you need more masks, I think Beth had sent out a memo that we do have about 200 masks that were delivered to us from the Clinton County. They're just cloth masks like the one I'm wearing.
Oh, right now, sir, we have plenty of masks. I got a supply last week. And like I said, FEMA sending me another supply probably by Friday. Hold on for a minute, sir. We have an emergency. Sorry for the interruption. We just got a call from fire dispatch. There's a fire on Flint Avenue, so I have to send 2 linemen over to kill the power. So,
Any difficulties in training or anything else that needs to be addressed, Bill?
nope, our training for the most part occurs in-house, except for the new guys, they will go to Fairport, but that's all been canceled right now until we see where coronavirus is going, and it will depend on the governors of Vermont and New York opening up the states and when that will occur. And your guess is as good as mine as to when that will occur.
Thank you, Bill. Is there any other new business that any other director would like to bring up? Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 9, to persons addressing the board. I don't know how people are addressing the board. I imagine they're coming into Ethan or something. Is there any members of the public at City Hall or writing online that would like to address?
There's 2 people at City Hall here with me. We're all wearing our masks, but I don't think anybody is wanting to comment at this time yet.
And Ethan, is there anyone putting anything online to address the board?
No.
Thank you, Ethan. Well, hearing none on that, we'll move on to, do I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make the motion.
All right. Director Gibbs makes the motion and Director Barbell seconds. Roll call, Director Barbell,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Gibbs,
Yes.
Director McFarland votes yes, Director Moore,
Yes.
Director Reed.
Yes.
So it is around 5:04. This meeting of the MLD is officially closed.
Thank you, Mayor and councilors, for your time.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Kelly, have a great day.
You too, everybody have a great day and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
So let's continue on with the meeting for the work session for Common Council for tonight. And we've been discussing, and given the precariousness of the finances, we do want to have an extended finance discussion every single week at this time and try to take care of any work session items at the same time. But obviously, our budget woes are paramount importance. So I think that the Finance Committee has prepared a short presentation for us. So if you're ready, Finance Committee.
Yes, Mayor. Let me just preface this by saying that the Finance Committee met yesterday. It's Jeff Moore, Richard Marks, the mayor, and myself. We had a lengthy discussion about the city's finances, and we decided to share some information with the council this week. And we also discovered there were some items that we will discuss next week because we need more information. So we've already got an agenda for next week. But I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see this. Bear with me. Can everyone see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I can't see you for some reason, so I'm going to just presume you can see it. If you can't, I sent it to you in email, so you can look at a copy at your desktop. But I'll go ahead and start. This is a budget update for April 30th. I always like to start with our budget assumptions. All of these are going to be challenged, I believe, by the COVID-19 pandemic. As you know, probably the two most challenged are to grow the unassigned fund balance and to keep our budget sustainable for the next couple of years anyway. Just how big is the economic downturn caused by the coronavirus pandemic? I was careful to call it an economic downturn because I'm not really an economist, but we have some economists in our midst, the mayor and Jeff Moore and Richard Marks as our Chamberlain certainly qualifies as an economist also, I think. But today I learned this is the steepest decline of gross domestic product in history. A 30% reduction in GDP is anticipated. Unemployment is the highest since the Great Depression of the 1930s. This morning I heard that that number is now at 18.6%. We are in a period of deflation, it appears, in which prices will go down, which will and reduced demand for items will create a spiral of continuing deflation. So the question is, and I ask this to my economist friends, how are we entering a recession or a depression? We don't have to answer that today, but it's something for all of us to think about. People have a lot of questions about what's happening in the city as a result of COVID-19. So I set up some frequently asked questions, or FAQs, for us to consider and for the public to consider. And the first question is, are all governments challenged today, or is this just unique to our region or the state of New York? The answer is all governments are challenged. State budget shortfalls are expected to be $650 billion over the next 3 years. The Congressional Budget Office projects that employment will average 15% for the next 6 months and then fall only slowly down to 9.5% in 2021. So we're in for an extended period of unemployment. The estimates above are just for state budget shortfalls. These do not reflect the additional shortfalls that local governments face. This is from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities as of yesterday. This is what the budget shortfalls look like going forward in graphic form. You can see that the COVID-19 pandemic that we're in now will reduce or will create budget shortfalls that could be the largest in history. So what does that mean for the city? As of yesterday, when Jeff and the mayor and the Chamberlain and I met, we discovered a $2.8 million shortfall. We expect an expected $662,000 surplus will not materialize this year. Our rainy day fund will be affected, but it will not be depleted. As you know, we have $2.1 million in our unappropriated fund balance.
Councilor Kelly, one correction there is that the original budgeted surplus was 688,000.
Oh, okay. Not 662,000, Chamberlain.
That's correct. It was 688, 316, I believe.
We'll keep that in mind going forward. So it would take a 30% tax increase to tax our way out of this crisis, and that might only get us out for a year or so. We're going to keep looking at this, and we're going to provide the council weekly updates every week.
Mike, can I ask a question on that slide? Just how much will the current budget surplus be depleted?
It'll be
What's the
zero.
estimate? Was there an estimate on
Current
that?
budget surplus?
Yes.
We have a slide about that, Ira, but we determined that we'd like to keep that fund at a minimum at $1.5 million. So we can tap into it if we need to, but we believe $1.5 million is as low as we'd like to go. So the question is, can we use the fund balance to see us through this crisis? As we've often discussed, 2.1 million is not a lot of money. Gives us about 16 days of operations. The city is self-funded for health insurance, so 2 or 3 big claims, medical claims or legal claims, for example, could wipe out our fund balance. Our best efforts so far have found only $1.5 million in cuts. We need $3 million to give us a balanced budget at the end of the year. The Finance Committee has discussed this at length, and we agree we need to keep at least $1.5 million in our rainy day fund, as I said just a moment ago. So the next question is, and this is a frequently asked question as well, is why did you furlough the lowest paid staff? Well, the city council didn't furlough anyone really. The city council must defer to union rules. The unions determine the actual individuals who would be furloughed. And we also furloughed some managers. We had some retirements. And remember, one of our foundations, we will deliver the best service for the lowest cost to our taxpayers. So the job titles were carefully selected. And of course, civil service and union advice was followed. Another frequently asked question, will city operations change post-coronavirus? The answer, in short, is yes, they will. But we'll collectively and collaboratively plan our way through this pandemic and post-pandemic economic struggle. And we'll do it in a way that serves all of our stakeholders, taxpayers, citizens, and employees. Here's some facts about furloughs and layoffs. These numbers may change, and they're not all quite finalized yet, but I'll tell you what we know as of today. Our union employees will begin their furloughs after their workday on May 1st, and management furloughs will begin after the workday on May 8th. 2 water and sewer managers are retiring. 4 recreation staff and 2 DPW staff were laid off. 2 rec staffers were furloughed. 5 DPW workers were furloughed. The library may, and I stress may, furlough 13 employees until July 31st. The library board determines that, and they're in deliberation.
Mike, I can give you an update on that. If you want,
That'd be wonderful, Patrick. Please go ahead.
I can tell you that the library board and the ASME union agreed to a memorandum of agreement to furlough 13 library employees beginning on May 2nd for up to 90 days.
Okay.
One caveat to that, gentlemen and ladies, is that one of those 13 employees was actually retiring on May the 7th, just 3 days after the furlough is to begin.
Okay. Thank you both for that information. And 3 line helpers were also furloughed, or I should say will be furloughed. 4 administrative personnel in City Hall are going to be furloughed. 1 FTE in community development. The police department has 3 furloughs, 1 retirement, 1 resignation. And all the remaining cuts are from attrition and leaving unfilled jobs open. Does anyone have any questions about those bullet points? Please remember that each of those bullet points represents a person, and that person might be struggling, emotionally and, thinking about the future, but they are receiving $600 a week from the federal government, and then their regular unemployment from the state, and most are furloughed, so they will continue to receive their health care benefits. We're trying to do everything in our power to make this transition as easy for our employees as we possibly can.
Mike, can I ask a question? You said earlier that we've only made 1.5 million of cuts. In what you're saying now is a $2.8 million deficit that we're, a reduction in revenue essentially that we're looking at. So with the furloughs that you just talked about, we're still $1.5 million below, or we still need another $1.5 million cuts in our programs in the city.
We're fairly certain of that, Ira. We're going to continue to analyze the situation daily and see where we are next week.
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure I was understanding what you said. Thank you.
Just a clarification on those numbers. I know I put that $1.5 million figure together 2 weeks ago. And the important thing to remember is that of that $1.5 million figure, there was 26 positions in the general fund that will account for $750,000 of that $1.5 million figure if those positions are left vacant for the remainder of the entire year, not just through July 31st. 2 of the other amounts that were put together in that $1.5 million figure was $200,000 for the rec complex and $275,000 for the library. And that was anticipating not sending that amount of funding from the general fund for the rest of the year. The only problem with the rec complex fund not sending the $200,000 from the general fund is that they have $197,000 in debt service that must be paid. And without any revenues coming in for the rest of the year, I don't see where they'll have $200,000 of any kind of surplus to pay that. Of course, with the library, $275,000 reduction in their funding would be a significant reduction, more than 5%, and would have to take a look at that with the state library representatives that she discusses with to see if that reduction of over 5% of their funding would compromise 25% of the library funding from the state of New York. There was $277,000 of additional budget cuts that the mayor laid out, and I verified that can be done. So if those general fund jobs are left vacant for the rest of the year, and the $277,000 of those budget cuts are made, that would get us about $1,027,000 by the end of 2020.
So you're saying we're nowhere close because we don't really plan on shutting those things for the rest of the year.
Well, I don't know what's going to be done, and I don't know what's going to pan out. But to say that we need to recover $3,043,000 of lost revenue and increased expenses that we adopted a budget resolution for 2 weeks ago, which now creates a $2.8 million deficit in 2020, reversing the $688,000 surplus, a $3.5 million swing. It's a large number to recover, and to be able to do it in, say, a 7 or 8 month period requires significant cost reductions and vacancies of positions. All in the general fund, by the way.
I think this points to reason why the Finance Committee needs to look at this on an almost ongoing basis. And that is what we plan to do, and we will report to the council each and every week as we go forward. One thing I would ask the council to do is to keep this this list of furloughs and layoffs I've provided for you here. Keep that close to you, and if people start spreading rumors about what is happening, this is it. This is it. We'll have another update for you next week. And again, it will be as accurate as we can possibly make it. And there's no reason why it can't be 100% accurate, since we know, or someone on our staff knows exactly how these things are taking place. So for next week, we'd like to talk about the following items: beach and rec facilities, fishing tournaments, AIM, something called TANs and RANs, tax anticipation notes and revenue anticipation notes, sales tax. We'll talk about other job actions that can be taken, such as shared work. Maybe some other ideas by next week on that. And hopefully some more information on the library, although thanks to Patrick and Richard, we were given some information on the library today, so maybe that won't need to be on next week's agenda. Does anyone have any questions? We have about 6 minutes left before the regular council meeting starts. Does anyone have any questions about any of the slides or any of the information on the slides?
No, I'll just add that I thought it was very helpful, Mike.
Okay. Well, we'll continue doing it, Ira, as long as we need to. So at this point, I'm going to stop my share of my desktop and rejoin the meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Any further discussion you'd like to have on the agenda this time? Maybe I could ask for councilor reports then, beginning with Governance Strategy and City Operations, Councilor Barbell.
Get this unmute. I don't really have anything to report other than that I'm hoping over this next week, in light of what you said, I had wanted to meet with the Community Development Office to talk about recreation, the beach and the gym and the Crate Center, and look at whether there was any future or potential to do something this summer, but not recreate the same programs that we've already had, but some modification of that to provide for an opportunity at less cost if it's made available to us through the state and the health department, that there are options for us to do that. So my intention is to have some conversation with them and see if we can put together something that has dollar figures associated with it if we were able to do that, and hoping we would have a plan in place as to what it would take to do that and what it would cost, so that as these monthly updates come in, we can see what our feasibility of doing something would look like.
Okay,
That's
City of
it.
Infrastructure, Councilor Moore.
I don't have anything new to report, but I am pleased that we were able to keep a few more people on the ground in the Public Works Department due to the voluntary furloughs and things. So hopefully we'll be able to complete all our spring projects this year.
Finance and Budget, Councilor Kelly.
Nothing new to add, Mayor.
Public Safety, Councilor Gibbs.
No updates.
Plattsburgh Public Library, Councilor McFarland.
Yes, as I said, when Mike was giving his spiel, the library board and the ASME union agreed to furlough 13 employees, beginning on May 2nd for up to 90 days. But the library is still operating. They're operating remotely. I believe they're still signing people up for library cards and things of that nature. A record number of ebooks and audiobooks have been borrowed since the library closed on March 16th. They're also doing, their Facebook page is active. Mr. Ben is doing his streaming of his story time, which has been great. My daughter's only 2, so she loses interest quickly, but it's been fantastic. He's been reading books to kids. I think his most recent ones, he was reading quite a few books, including the Boring Book was one that we enjoyed. So the library is still servicing customers. So that's certainly a nice little thing going on in our city during this lockdown. And I'll move on to
And
MLD. We just had our board meeting. It was interesting. I would recommend checking it out on YouTube if you missed it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other items you'd like to bring up at this time?
I have one. I was walking down the Gordon bike path and noticed that all the brush and trees, or a large, substantial number of them, from the pump house at the end of the path down towards Lake Forest, had all been cut down. And it didn't look to me like they were cut down with chainsaws. I'm wondering if anybody has any information as to whether the railroad company came through. I remember a couple of years ago, they came through, and on a flatbed, they had almost like I'd call it a weed whacker, but it had like a 1/2-inch chain attached to it that was just ripping things out alongside the track. And I haven't had a chance to try to reach anybody down at Tall Pines to see if somehow they got somebody in there to cut things, but I was surprised that a great deal was trimmed. And there had been some trimming on other parts of it between the track and the fence. This is the city side, not the lake side. So I don't know if Public Works is doing any trimming in there, or, but just, yeah, if anybody has any information about that, let me know.
Let's then begin the Common Council meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance tonight, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Reed,
Present.
Councilor Barbell,
Here.
Councilor Kelly,
Here.
Councilor Gibbs,
Here.
Councilor McFarland,
Here.
Councilor Moore.
Here.
I do have just a couple of comments for you. First of all, I know we were talking about events, and as you know, some of the city properties and city events, the council has decided to curtail and reconsider later on in the year. So I just want to remind everybody that any other third-party events, the city has not weighed in. Now, there's some third-party events, like, for instance, the Battle of Plattsburgh Association chose to instead do a bigger event in 2021 rather than 2020. I know the museums have decided not to open up in 2020, or many of them. We have a representative from the farmers market. I know they're opening up in 2020 just as planned and following all the protocols that the ag and markets are providing. The only thing the city's doing is making sure all the various protocols are followed, of course, but we're certainly not in any position to cancel anybody else's events. Just so everybody knows, there's ways to run a farmer's market, there's ways to do a street drive, etc., all safely. Now, that doesn't mean that a lot of groups are not choosing to cancel their events. Certainly many are, even most are, but many also can construct things consistent with the governor's orders and the ag and markets regulations and everything. We're very glad and happy that they can do that. we're all also very grateful to the fact that Clinton County, even though it started off in the top third of infection rates amongst all counties in the state, now we're in the bottom quarter. And I really think that speaks volumes for all the good work that our residents have done for 7 weeks now. When we first started doing social distancing, and probably about 4 weeks since we started doing masks, et cetera, here, it's made a huge difference. The estimated virus penetration is only about 1% in our community, and you're seeing they estimate somewhere around 25% in New York City. So we've done an incredible job, and we need to keep doing that job. We're managing the virus very well instead of having it manage that, but I'm very grateful to the community and to certain members. I want to read out a proclamation. Whereas the city and the region face an unprecedented challenge to our health and livelihood, and whereas the coronavirus crisis for 7 weeks has managed us, but now we're beginning to manage it. Whereas the health of our residents must always come before anything else. Whereas our residents have cooperated spectacularly in early and extreme social distancing before anybody else. Whereas we're hopeful that we have learned to effectively manage the SARS-CoV-2 virus until a treatment can be found. Whereas the economic challenges may last much longer and will affect some of our residents far more profoundly than others. And whereas we are a resilient community that demonstrates when we face the worst, it can bring out the best among us. And whereas our residents depend on the better angels among us who are in the caring professions and risk their lives to keep us safe. And whereas we all do our part to support those heroes who keep us safe as we keep them safe by wearing masks and staying at home. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Colin Reed of the City of Plattsburgh, hereby recognizes 3 outstanding medical professionals: Dr. Keith Collins, the infectious disease specialist at CVPH, and John Canoza and Aaron Stripe of the Clinton County Health Department, and all their staff who have kept us fully informed and motivated to do absolutely whatever we can to ensure that we can do all we can to keep them all safe as well. So thank you, everybody, for really making such a huge difference in our city and hence for our entire region. Please continue, Beth.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the Common Council held on April 23rd, 2020 are approved and placed on file among the public records of the city clerk's office.
Moved by Councilor Kelly and second by Councilor Barbell. Discussion?
I have a question. I think there's an error on this, on item 3, when the city beach is unlikely to open normal operations, and it has seems like a duplicate item in there about 1, 2, 3, 4 down, beach materials and supplies for $7,342.49 cents. The last one is beach material and supplies, $7,342.49. I don't think I need to have anything done. I just think somebody needs to look at it and reconcile the numbers, that's all, because it would change the budget line item for the beach at that point, that we may have counted that one twice.
I caught that error when I did the budget adjustment. The reason that happened is I was copying that line as I was creating the budget adjustment, and I forgot to drop that last one. So that $7,400 or $7,600, can't remember the amount exactly, was not duplicated. And also the next string of adjustments for the marina was off $1, and I caught that too.
I didn't catch the dollar, so thank you.
No problem. It's, just keeping the math straight was what had to be done.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Passed.
Resolved that the payrolls of the various departments of the city of Plattsburgh for the week ending April 29th, 2020 in the amount of $56,725.88 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and the city clerk are hereby empowered and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Councilor Kelly and second by Councilor Moore. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. You have your packet of reports with the agenda this week. Are there any additional committee reports you'd like to offer this time? Seeing none, resolve the reports as listed are hereby ordered received, and any written reports are placed on file among the public records of the city clerk's office. Moved by Councilor Barbell and second by Councilor Moore. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? I think I only had 3 in favor. Need 4. One more hand go up. Councilor McFarland, Councilor Gibbs,
Yes.
okay, thank you. No correspondences or recommendations from boards at this time. Please continue.
Resolved that the bills audited by the Common Council for the week ending May 1st, 2020 in the amount of $886,847.10 are authorized and allowed, and the mayor and the city clerk are hereby authorized and directed to sign warrants drawn on the city chamberlain for the payment thereof.
Moved by Councilor Kelly and second by Councilor Barbell. Discussion. You're still muted there, Councilor Kelly.
Yes, I have something I'd like to say, and that is to thank Julie Winterbottom for her rapid transition from paper to digital signing. That has made all of our lives so easy, and it was absolutely necessary that we do this in the way that we're conducting business now. But I am so happy and grateful, and Mr. Marks, I hope you'll pass on to her our gratitude for doing that for us.
Yep, thank you. Excellent point. It does make it so much easier.
I'll definitely let her know that you're very appreciative of it. It is a great opportunity to use electronics to its highest level. We've actually had that process in place for over 10 years for echo signing of personnel forms. So it's great to expand the use of it.
Let's do all in favor. There's no more discussion. Please raise your hand. I only have 3 hands going up, so I need to wait for a 4th. Thank you. Are there any, I understand you're having addressing the public in a different manner this tonight, Beth. Can you walk us through that?
We're just simply not doing the YouTube chat feature, so anyone can make a comment via email, and I have not had any.
Okay. And
Could we just state what that email is, just so if anyone's watching, they could have an opportunity by the end of the meeting?
Oh, just my email, carlinb@cityofplattsburgh-ny.gov.
thank you. So I see nobody in the room and wanting to address the council on items on the agenda right now, so let's please continue.
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the Common Council authorizes the mayor to sign a license agreement with the Plattsburgh Farmers and Crafters Market to operate in the Farmers Market building adjacent to the Durkee Street parking lot from May 30th to October 10th, 2020. License fee and proof of insurance is required.
Discussion. Let's have a first and a second. I'm sorry. Councilor McFarland, Councilor Moore, second. Discussion.
I have a couple of questions. One, it was unclear to me. It says that they will operate Wednesday and Saturday, and then it says in the enclosed section 7 days a week. Is that the way I should read that? Are they going to have something that's going to be going on in the enclosed section 7 days a week?
Would you like the farmers market representative to describe that to you?
Yes.
Really?
Okay, that's in the what, the lease agreement, right?
Yes, it's in the lease agreement.
Believe it or not, that's just a total typo.
Okay.
It's how Matt got it drawn up.
Which section are we talking about, Councilor Barbell? Well, I think they have access to the building 7 days a week, but they're only.
This is- Oh, okay, I got it.
The intention, yeah.
All right, this is what it is because I go in once in a while and maybe I pick up garbage or something. If one of our vendors needs to get in to their stuff in the building that's locked in there, I can get in there with my key to let them get at one of their displays or something. So that's why it means 7 days a week.
Yeah, so it allows the market to operate on Wednesdays and Saturdays, but Julie and, other representatives would have access to the building at all times.
So, yeah.
That's fine. I understand that. It makes perfect sense. I have if you would stay there for a second, I have a couple more.
Absolutely.
One of the things is there's no sound amp devices without permission, and also no live music at the site. You've in the past had somebody playing music at the farmer's market. Is that not going to happen in this future?
No,
No,
I
not
can,
this
I
year.
can, yeah, I can chime in, Ira. So under the Empire State Development, they've listed essential businesses and they have listed explicitly farmers markets, but they've also on the same hand have prohibited non-essential gatherings or any social events. So previously in years past, the farmers market had sold produce and sold crafts and also had live entertainment. Because only the sale of the produce is permitted, we had to strike out those other portions of the arrangement. So it's strictly a farmer's market, less of a community event until the New York pause has been
Yes.
modified.
So if the New York changes that, then you would be able to provide music and some other event there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think that's it for me.
Julie, while we have you here, could you please tell the public what sort of precautions you're taking in light of the virus at the farmers?
Okay, they're lengthy. I know I have a big thing planned. Obviously, we have to have our social distancing 6 feet. I have a map of how I will be setting up the market since we cannot have anybody in the building. There's not any vendors allowed in the building. There's going to be 6 feet in between every vendor. Matt's bringing up the drawing now. And I have hand washing stations that are going to be in play. The vendors have to wear masks. They have to, oh my gosh, it's so entailed. I'm trying to wait for him to bring it up.
Can you,
Let me get that away.
how do I access the flash drive? Yeah. Okay.
Marcus,
That one.
is how to get it up onto there.
Okay, let me check this one. You want to use this one, Julie?
Yeah. It's easy for me. I had one professionally done as I sent to you, but that one is easier for me.
Okay.
Yep.
Could I ask another question while we're trying to get that document up? I saw the document in the materials you sent in, but
Nope.
I'm gonna take a second to get over there.
Ah.
Oh, 15 seconds away.
Okay, there you go.
Okay, this is the drawing of how I'm going to be conducting the market. As you can see, the pavilion is on the left-hand side of the picture, okay? And I'm going to be starting on the right hand in a one-way traffic formation, like many of the major stores have going on right now. You'll be going in on the right-hand side of the picture, one-way flow all the way down. The V's are for the vendors. The X's are the spots in between. You'll be going down the one-way. You go into the building and out the side door of the building. There will be, those little circles are cones. That's going to be all blocked off right there. Nobody's going to be able to go past that. There's going to be signage. I'm going to have people helping me police the area. I say police lately. So that way we can keep social distancing to a very minimum. I will only be allowing 15 people in at one time. And hopefully, you know, that way they'll get in there and they'll do their shopping and leave without any problems. All of our vendors, like I said, the H's in the picture will be my hand washing stations. I have everything set up for those. I was able to procure some hand sanitizer from a source that does not want to be named, but they were really great about it. And so all of the vendors will have hand sanitizer. They are required to wear masks at all times. The Department of Agriculture has strict enforcement as far as handling the produce and any of the product. All of my booths will be set up a certain way so as to make it more consistent and smoother for the customers to understand. I don't want any fighting. I don't want anybody saying, well, she's doing it this way. Why can't I do it? I feel if we all do it the same way, there will be no misunderstanding. The vendors are going to be wiping their booths down, all of that type of thing.
No food samples on site.
No food samples at all on site. I mean, the Department of Agriculture is very stringent about what they can and cannot do. This, can they see this?
No.
No. So right now they can't see anything of me.
No, all they can see is what's on the screen there.
Okay, well, this was a picture of the hand washing station I was going to do. I don't know. Any questions on what I'm going to do?
Julie, do you have the same amount of vendors coming in this year as you did last year?
Oh, no. Right now I have 22 what is considered essential vendors. And that is, I have, okay, I have 6 produce people, 4 baked goods, 3 meat people, which right now with the meat shortage, I just went to the store today and they're starting to, you know, ration out meat. And so we have 3 meat people. Flowers and herbs are actually allowed, and I have that letter saying that it is. And as far as other vendors, there are 9, and that includes hand sanitizer and soaps are allowed. I have 1 person who makes masks, and she will be allowed. I have a vitamin person, and I have syrup and honey. Those are all considered essential. So 22, and then actually the dog father cart, who is always there with us, has considered essential, and he will be there as well. So none of our crafters.
At least until the pause order is lifted and some of the other restrictions are eased.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this, Matt, with the pause order. Obviously, we were working on plans to have a new farmer's market, and I understand the pause order paused that.
Yeah.
Clearly, this lease is till October 10th. If the pause order is lifted on May 15th or whenever it is, what are we doing for construction? Is there a possibility of the farmer's market moving to the new location at some point this year, or is it just being presumed?
It's possible. That construction is also dependent upon developments with the approval process for the Durkee development project. As the council knows, we still have several applications before the city zoning and planning boards. Once those boards come to resolutions approving the project, and any subsequent litigation that is filed against any of the decisions of the boards is resolved, hopefully in the city's favor, of course. At that point, we will commence with construction on the new farmers market. We have already released an RFP, received a bid and response. We are currently evaluating that bid. The city's engineer for the project in my office. The intention is to work with them to craft an agreement that would allow them to put their preparations in order, but not proceed with actual construction until board approvals for the Durkee project are obtained and any litigation is resolved. The thinking being that these are scarce public dollars in a time of great fiscal uncertainty, and we don't want to commit them to physical construction until we are absolutely certain that the farmers market will no longer be able to operate in its current location because of the development of the Durkee project.
Well, let me ask you this, if the project gets approved in the zoning and the planning board, when do they expect to start construction on the Durkee project? And has that been worked out so that such construction wouldn't interfere with the farmers market in that case?
We would hope to have the new market completed by the time that the city formally conveyed the Durkee property to prime companies. That would be about 30 days after any final lawsuits are resolved. And based on discussions with our engineer, 30 days is a reasonable amount of time to accomplish the scope of construction that we're talking about down at the new proposed farmers market building.
So there shouldn't be any logistical issues if that eventuality comes.
We are anticipating no major logistical issues. If that were to change for any reason, we would certainly keep the market informed and also keep the mayor and the council informed so they can make any decisions about how to proceed. Any further questions? Thank you.
I just want to say the community needs this market because they have so few other things to go to right now. And honestly, I have produce people, meat people, dairy people. I have people who rely on this and they really need this market. We need to support our local farmers and our local meat people and everyone. We need to have this market.
Yeah, and I'll second that. When people's lives have been upended and they've lost financial anchors, social anchors, psychic anchors, when something like this is able to be done within the bounds set by public health officials and can give people at least a temporary sense of normalcy, I think it's important that the community embrace it when it can be done safely. And I do believe this can be conducted safely.
I will make it safe. I can guarantee that. I'm telling you right now. I have precautions in place that would just turn your hair gray. So, anybody else have any questions?
Just a quick question. Are dairy products also going to be made available, or local dairy farmers involved in this too?
They're considered essential, and I would love to have somebody contact me because right now I know they're taking hits that are unbelievable because they don't have schools or restaurants or anybody to go to. And I know there's the big thing where they're having to pour their milk out and they're having to do this and they're having to do that. Unfortunately, I have not had anyone reach out to me as far as dairy goes, but I'm not giving up hope because I would really love to have a dairy person down there.
Thank you.
And finally, on that point, this industry is considered an essential services industry, so there's absolutely no doubt that it has every expectation of being open, just like the grocery stores are. Yeah.
A lot of my customers have gotten in touch with me asking,
Right. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Counselor Barbell,
Yes.
Counselor Kelly,
Yes, yep. It's got his hand
Counselor
up.
Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor McFarland,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council
Beth?
approves.
Beth, I'd like to make a motion to waive the reading of items B, C, and D and move those to resolution.
Seconded.
Moved by Counselor Gibbs, second by Counselor McFarland. All in favor, raise your hand. Opposed? Passed. Discussion of the items B, C, and D themselves.
I would say these items were discussed at length at the MLD board meeting, so if you want to see those discussions, I would go to the YouTube stream of those.
Okay. Roll call?
Counselor Barbell,
Yes.
Counselor Kelly,
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor McFarland,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
Resolved in accordance with the request, therefore the common council agrees that because of the COVID pandemic in Paws, New York, to allow the city chamberlain to refund the following fees and make adjustments to the appropriate funds to reflect these refunds. Plattsburgh High School, $100 reservation fee for sophomore hop, scheduled date March 13, 2020. Seton Catholic, $100 reservation fee for prom, scheduled May 15, 2020. Artistry Community Theater Corp., $800 musical, scheduled March 22nd through March 29th, 2020.
Moved by Counselor Barbell, and second by Counselor Moore. Discussion? Roll call?
Counselor Barbell,
Yes.
Counselor Kelly,
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor McFarland,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes,
No travel requests at this time. Are there any resolutions for initial consideration? Any new business or councilor reports? Are there any closing public comments that have come in? Or online, Ethan?
No.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn then? Moved by Councilor McFarland, second
I'll second
by
that.
Councilor Barbell. Roll call.
Counselor Barbell,
Yes.
Counselor Kelly,
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs,
Yes.
Counselor McFarland,
Yes.
Counselor Moore.
yes.
Thank you. Keep yourself safe, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good night.